Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watch You Want. Thanks for logging on. Today we're looking at the Kobold Spirit of America manual wind, 44 millimeters in brushed titanium. This watch is the brainchild of Pennsylvania's own Micheal Kobold. Now, in the 1990s, he originally proposed in a college paper the idea of a United States manufactured high-end luxury watch. It was considered to be more of a curiosity than a practical proposal, but he founded his namesake company in 1998, and by 2006 had enough experience with American watch design to break through the next barrier, American watch assembly, and thus the Spirit of America that you see here was born. Let's put it on the wrist, let's talk about its aesthetic virtues, some design details, and unpack a little bit more of the history of Kobold watches. So you can see on my wrist, 6 1/3 inches, 16 centimeters in circumference, this Kobold Spirit of America manual wind is big but not brash. It's quietly confident. If you want to think about the twin threads of American luxury being Cadillac and Lincoln, Cadillac is big, bold, garish, and flamboyant, extrovert and unapologetic. Lincoln's a little bit more understated, just as grand, just as refined and luxurious, but under the radar. Perhaps more subtle, more discreet, a totally different take. If you want to think of the two dueling banjos that epitomize this, think of the 1957 Cadillac Eldorado Brougham and the 57 Lincoln Continental Mark II. Both of them cost about as much as a couple of nice houses in the 50s. Each one was equally fine, but in a different way. The Kobold is the Lincoln, no question. With the brushed titanium case, it has sort of a bluish-gray gunmetal finish. Very spare use of polishing, only on the knurled portion of the bezel. The case otherwise reads as a matte metallic. Big, 44 millimeters, no doubt, but you can see that the lugs don't overhang my wrist. 6 1/3 inches, 16 centimeters is below average in wrist size, but I can confidently say that this watch will accommodate a small wrist, and a small wrist will accommodate this watch. Being that it's crafted from titanium, the watch sits very lightly. Also, because the crown has been cleverly relocated to 8 o'clock, there is no potential for a large, oversized crown and guard assembly to dig the skin of your wrist. If you like to wear the watch a little loose and you hyperextend your wrist, even if the watch were to scooch up a little bit, you're not going to be able to impale yourself on your watch. Clever design by Kobold. Now, the Soarway case that you see here is one of Kobold's signature innovations. Before they were building the watch in the US, they were designing the watches in the US. And in 2000, with the help from Chronoswiss founder and mentor Gerd Rudiger Lang, Micheal Kobold designed the Soarway as kind of a do-it-all, sports-centric case for his new generation of watches. And with the Spirit of America, he moved both assembly of the Soarway cases and the watch itself to the United States. Based out of Pennsylvania, Kobold Watch has been expanding its American-made offerings ever since, and this Spirit of America is where it all started. Now you can see the dial is quintessentially sports watch. Applied indices, gorgeous lume, vast amounts of lume on both the hands and outboard of the applied metallic indices. This watch glows like a torch at night. Now I want to clarify that although the Soarway case was originally designed for a rotating bezel, and the knurled finish of this bezel essentially preserves that aesthetic, it looks proper, it fits, it's cohesive. This is not a rotating bezel, so I'm just clarifying. It's the look and feel of a rotating bezel, but on a fixed bezel watch. I also want to add that the watch features a workhorse power plant that's well known to panaristi of the world in the form of the Unitas 6497 pocket watch caliber. Now, with a huge balance wheel, a rugged reputation, a power reserve of 44 hours, this movement is an absolute workhorse, but it's also a great example of another Pennsylvania tradition, because at the Lidditz School of Watchmaking, located not far from Kobold's manufacture, the base 6497 is used as a school watch template for watchmakers who are entering their training, and I believe to this day they continue to make school watches in-house using the Unitas 6497 as a template. So whether you are an advanced collector or a watchmaker just cutting your teeth, or if you belong to the Panaristi clan of the world, you'll be well familiar with the 6497 pocket watch caliber. Visible through a display back, it features Côte de Genève finishing and blued screws. It's simple but handsome. Really, it's a lot like the rest of the watch. Sober but beautifully finished, beautifully and honestly rendered. This is a memorable reference. Waterproof, to 100 meters. It's an exceptionally hardy, everyday wearer, and being a manual wind watch, it gives you that romantic interaction with your timepiece once a day when you get to re-energize it and put a little bit of your life force into it. It's also the realization of an equally romantic dream, the resurrection of American watchmaking, which historically had been localized in Pennsylvania along the mid-Atlantic coast. In a lot of ways, Micheal Kobold and his counterpart in Pennsylvania, Roland G. Murphy at RGM, are resurrecting a grand tradition while drawing on a little bit of the modern Swiss legacy of luxury watchmaking, taking the best of both worlds and producing watches like this Kobold Spirit of America manual wind. See it in outstanding condition on our website, Watch You Want.